Welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us today. We're coming to you from Interop 2011 in New York. On our program is Matthew Covington. He is the Senior Director of Product Management at Smith Micro Software. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So, many people probably use Smith Micro products every day, and they may not even know it, right? So why don't you give us an overview of your company and tell us why that is?
Absolutely. Smith Micro has been in business since 1983. Primarily what we do is we create custom software solutions for leading wireless carriers. So for example, if you've ever used a 3G data device from Verizon Wireless, the connection manager software that you install on your laptop to work that device as a modem is actually created by Smith Micro, branded for the operator. So we have solutions shipping with AT&T, with Verizon, with T-Mobile, with Sprint. All of these are important customers for us.
And laptops too, with embedded Wi-Fi or embedded wireless, a lot of times will have your software.
Yeah, absolutely. For example, laptop shipping with Gobi 3000, Gobi chipsets, Smith Micro's connection manager software will be used to manage those devices.
So from your perspective in the market, I mean, you get to see a lot of really interesting things, right? You work with device manufacturers, you work with carriers, but your area of focus is primarily the enterprise, which
That's
is
correct.
what I was hoping to hear more about today. What's happening with Smith Micro in the enterprise?
Well, sure. Today our focus in enterprise is behind our Mobility Command Center initiative. So this is a server that's designed to be a policy management system for enterprise to manage all aspects of mobile devices. And what we're seeing primarily is a big trend today away from corporate liable scenarios where companies are buying mobile devices for their workers to bring your own device programs where employees are encouraged to bring in their iPhone, their Android devices and use them to connect to corporate data. So what Smith Micro provides are the servers as the ecosystem to allow those devices to be safely deployed on the enterprise network.
Now, in terms of your customer profile, who would your customers be? Are there specific vertical markets, or is it just everyone, manufacturing to banking to finance?
You're seeing the bring your own device trend isn't limited to a particular industry. So you're seeing this across the board. As mobile devices become more and more capable, particularly with the iPad as a very game-changing device in terms of the sort of capabilities of a mobile device, a lot of different companies in many segments are deploying. That said, there tends to be particular interest in healthcare, financial services, anywhere where you have a sort of regulatory background in addition to local IT policy. So for example, in healthcare with HIPAA, all devices connecting to corporate data need to be encrypted, all information stored on those devices needs to be encrypted, and Smith Micro's solution can help to ensure that any device connected to the corporate network conforms to the required policies.
Now, trends in the market. We've seen the last 5 to 10 years, things like the cloud have become more important.
Yeah.
What trends have you seen, and how is that changing what you guys are doing at your company to just respond to a rapidly evolving marketplace?
Well, I think primarily in the enterprise space, it's proliferation of platforms, proliferation of different ways of connecting. So to take platforms, for example, you have iOS and Android that have both really become very prevalent in the last few years. And certainly if you think of Apple's history, you don't think of Apple in the enterprise, but suddenly with iOS devices, the vast majority of the Fortune 500 are in some way, shape or form either actively deploying or trialing iOS devices. So the need to be able to manage a multitude of different platforms from a single server ecosystem, I think is a big change, particularly compared to a scenario where for the most part you had devices that were BlackBerry devices managed by a BlackBerry server. Today, for the most part, you have employees bringing in a multitude of different devices, different carriers, different platforms, and that's certainly, I think, a challenge. And also you have a trend around wireless data usage. So for example, as the devices become more and more capable, the data usage profile on those devices changes significantly. So with a tablet, with its capabilities, it can do more and users tend to consume more data. And in an environment where users are switching over to, or having to switch to metered data plans, again, cost containment within the enterprise, managing when a user uses 3G versus when a user uses Wi-Fi, and being able to set policy to ensure that a user is using Wi-Fi when Wi-Fi is available can have a huge impact on the bottom line of a company looking to contain the cost of their mobile data plans.
Now, in terms of the competitive threat to your business, what would be the biggest one right now? Is it companies? Is there new technology? What keeps your company up at night, if anything?
Well, I think you always have to be on the lookout for competitors. Smith Micro has a great track record. We've been in business since 1983. We've had a great run of profitability, but anytime you see a major technology change in the industry, you have to be on top of that. For example, a change from 3G to 4G in wireless data, different solutions, different capabilities needed to deploy there, so we're always having to think about different solutions to come in. But I think we have a good track record with innovation. We feel very confident about the new products we have dropping. I can give you a quick example. We have a product called Mobile Network Director, which is designed for wireless operators. And the idea is that with congestion on 3G and 4G networks, wireless carriers are starting to notice that a lot of data consumption on those networks happens when users are within range of a Wi-Fi network.
Right.
So what we've created is a piece of software that can be installed on the mobile device to ensure that when a session is active on a 3G network, you can seamlessly transition that session to a Wi-Fi network as soon as it becomes available. Right. And we were in trials with a couple of major carriers, and we found it to be tremendously impactful to the profile of data on their networks.
That's great. Yeah. So it just reminds me of, I know AT&T's been very active in picking up Wi-Fi assets lately, Wi-Fi management, sure. Wi-Fi access points, Wi-Fi access point solutions. So, I know carriers have to deal with congested networks. Absolutely. And especially AT&T's reason for one of its reasons for buying T-Mobile was because of radio spectrum. So obviously Wi-Fi, having access to Wi-Fi hotspots for any carrier would be helpful, because Wi-Fi is a lot cheaper than having to go out and build towers and buy spectrum and manage spectrum and upgrade the technology, et cetera.
Absolutely. I think this is an issue that cuts across from operators through to enterprise. Enterprise have the same issue. They're paying metered data plans for their employees. They're using data. The more data they use on a 3G network, the higher the bill's going to be. Being able to enforce policies so those devices are seamlessly jumping on the corporate Wi-Fi network when it's available can help to save a lot of money for enterprises as well. So we think there's tremendous impacts of this technology to all areas of our business.
So what's next for the company?
What's next for the company? As I said, we're looking for Mobile Network Director to be a significant product for us next year. We also have an initiative called SODA, which is Secure On-Device API. And SODA is designed to provide a common interface across a wide range of devices, regardless of who the OEM is, regardless of who the wireless operator is. So you can write software once to manage those devices, and it speeds deployment for an operator that can bring new devices to the market much quicker if the existing software they have on the shelf is able to manage that new device, because that new device is using SODA to provide the consistent interface for our software to talk to.
Does that allow, or is that, let's think of how to phrase this, middleware, if I can call that a middleware solution, would that work on Apple devices too, or are Apple devices locked out so you can't?
For the most part with Apple devices, they manage their own ecosystem. I mean, mobile device management is a great example. We use a standard-based approach based on Open Mobile Alliance standards for every other platform, but with Apple, we're interfacing with their own mobile device management protocol. It tends to offer the same set of capabilities, but they do things a little differently. So in this case, yes, it is necessary to have a client installed on the device, most probably from the operator themselves, in order to function. So our priority right now, our focus is on Android devices. I think that's where you're going to see that platform, that particular service initially deploy.
Okay, we're running really short on time, but I have to ask you because you're in the middle of all this. Windows Mobile, Mango, Windows Phone 7, it's so tough to keep track of all the name changes with Windows mobile devices. Are you seeing traction there? Is it picking up?
I think it is. I think with Mango, the feature richness, the maturity of the operating system itself is starting to really improve. And I think the game changer is going to be Nokia. If Nokia are able to deploy attractive devices that people want to buy with their legacy of providing very high quality handsets, I think that could be a potential game changer and help to really take that platform to the next level. But we hear a lot of interest. We see a lot of interest. I think it's a very interesting platform.
So you are seeing the interest, because really, I mean, you would know because you're supplying.
We are. I mean, there's certainly challenge. I mean, without doubt, it's iOS, it's Android that's creating the momentum that you see all the talk about. But I think if you look at what Microsoft are starting to do with the platform, if you look at the hardware support that's starting to come there, I think it's going to be a very attractive solution.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure.